Welcome back to the Car Dad YouTube channel. Today we've got the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Peak Edition. Starting at around $48,000, the Peak Edition offers a more off-road focused trim package for just the appearance of the vehicle. It does not offer any performance upgrades, but only aesthetic-wise. But honestly, it looks very good. With the blacked out trim along the full vehicle, blacked out 18-inch wheels, as well as more aggressive off-road tires, the Peak Edition really offers that little extra trim to make the Atlas ready for the off-road. Inspired by the previous Atlas Base Camp concept back in 2019, the Peak Edition is purely a change in appearance rather than any performance changes. The Peak Edition trim will cost about $2,000 extra when speccing out your Atlas, but honestly, I think it'd be worth the extra cost, especially if you want something that's a little bit more aggressive looking and will kind of turn heads when it comes to standing out amongst all the other Atlases out there on the road today.
The Atlas comes with Volkswagen's 4Motion all-wheel drive system, independent coil springs on all four corners, and you get a 2-liter turbocharged engine with 8-speed transmission. More to come later in the video.
So stick with me. Please like and subscribe, and we will look at the interior, the exterior of the Atlas, and help you determine if this is a vehicle worth getting for you and your family. All right, let's get to it.
All right, starting off with the exterior of the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas Peak Edition. We have this awesome avocado green that is Peak Edition exclusive. As you can also see, as I mentioned before, we do have the 18-inch blacked out wheels with the all-terrain tires wrapping around that wheel. In regards to the trim for the Peak Edition, we do have blacked out trim for the grille. They do have the light up LED bar that goes across with the light up Volkswagen logo, some fake vents on the left and right side of the front bumper, these really good LED headlights. And then in regards to the Peak Edition exclusive trim parts, we do have the Peak Edition badging on the left and right sides of the car, the black mirror cap, and then the windows are trimmed in black instead of the typical brushed aluminum or chrome, and then blacked roof rails on top. Overall, I think the outside of this vehicle looks really good, especially from the side profile. Now, of course, it does look mostly like the regular trimmed Volkswagen Atlas, but with the addition of the blacked out elements, I think it makes it look a lot more aggressive, especially given the black wheels, which is of course more trendy nowadays, over a normal metal finish. Now moving on to the back of the Peak Edition. Now to the back of the vehicle, there's a few changes. Most notably is this black trim on the back going along the rear hatch. This rear light goes all the way across at night, which is actually a very nice look. I'll show it here. And then the Volkswagen logo in the back also lights up, such as the front of the vehicle as well. This does have some faux exhaust tips. You know, obviously not functioning, but nonetheless, they are there because some vehicles don't even have that nowadays. So that's nice to see. Of course, it'd be nicer to see them functioning, but you know, so be it. And then of course, as I mentioned, there is a 5,000 pound towing rating on this vehicle. You of course have your electronics plug-in with your normal sized tow hitch. Overall, the exterior of this vehicle, especially the back end, looks very nice. And I would actually suggest anybody get this, especially if they're wanting an Atlas and the functionality, but aren't super fans of the normal looks of it. All right, moving on to the interior of the Atlas. This interior quality isn't anything like the Volkswagens that I remember. This feels very upscale, especially given the $48,000 starting price of the Peak Edition. Aside from the two-tone dashboard with the faux carbon fiber trim, you do get synthetic leather two-tone seats, RGB configurable LED dashboard and door trim, as well as Peak Edition branding along the passenger side dashboard and the bottom of the steering wheel. The Atlas comes with a heated steering wheel, which is configured from a button, as well as other convenient controls from the adaptive cruise control and menu navigation, all from the steering wheel. As it is more of a standard nowadays, the Atlas comes with a 10.25-inch digital gauge cluster that you can customize to show a variety of gauge layouts and RGB colors. The Atlas also comes with a large 12-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You will use this screen to navigate the HVAC controls as well as the heated and ventilated seats. There are no knobs present to adjust the temperature, but you do get these capacitive touch sliders to adjust the temperature as well as one for the volume, which honestly I didn't find too much of an issue once I got used to it.
Between the middle vents, you can find the shortcut buttons to navigate to on-screen menus for your collision assistance, climate, and driving modes. Within the center console, you get a more minimalist approach with physical parking brake, Navi gear selector, parking gear button, along with the engine start-stop button. But hey, I'm glad to still see physical buttons present, since many vehicles don't have those nowadays. The center console storage, you get quite a bit, with the tray in front of the center armrest, sizable cup holders, a cell phone area with wireless charging pad for your cell phones, along with 2 USB-C ports. One of my favorite features of the Atlas is the large storage cubby below the center console, which is perfect for purses, bags, or other items. Within the center armrest, you get a ton of space. Along with room for all sorts of things, you get a USB-C port to connect or charge your cell phone, and finally in the door cards you get even more storage with the grab handle area and plenty of space for a large bottle below. All right, now for the second row. This is a really nice place to be. In all honesty, there is plenty of legroom for the drivers in the passenger front seats, probably where most of us would sit in regards to driving position. And as you can see, there is plenty of legroom. I have about 6 or 7 inches of legroom right here. And these rear seats do move forward and backwards on rails, manually of course, but either way, it's a really nice thing to have because not all SUVs have that. And as regards to the climate control, you do have the temperature, the fan speed, the positioning, and then auto and off buttons. And then in regards to electronics, we do have 2 USB-Cs down there, a 115 volt outlet as well. These are the only 2 vents that we do have in the second row. So it'd be nice to see some on the B pillars, but either way, your passengers will be just fine. In regards to storage, we do have the seat back pockets as pretty standard. We do have the 2 cup holders right here. In the door cards, we do have 1 liter bottle holders. We have some space behind that. And then within the grab handles, there are some storage, which is kind of nice because you can store things like cell phones, other odds and ends for your child. And then what's really nice that I found to be very helpful within this, especially if you have children, toddlers, or even for adults that don't want the sun on their face, we do have these rear shades that are manually retractable, but either way, it's really nice to have. It's not something that you see in every SUV, but here it's in the Atlas. So if you're gonna go on a long road trip, this is a very nice place to be in this second row. The seats are comfortable. As you can see, my legs are about a 90-degree angle, which is one of the more ideal seating positions. All right, let's move on. Now, this being a typical 3-row SUV, you do get plenty of space in the third row for children, maybe not so much adults, but you do get 4 cup holders and 4 USB-C ports. Moving on to the cargo area of the Atlas. So with the technology package, one of the things you get is you get the hands-free boot release. So all you have to do to open up the rear latch is wave your foot underneath and voila, the back area opens. And that reveals lots of cargo. So you get about 96.8 cubic feet of storage space with second and third rows all down, 55 cubic feet with this third row down. So that will be behind the second row of seats. And then behind the third row, you get about 12 cubic feet of storage space. I think most of us, if we're not utilizing that third row on a normal basis, would roll around with the third row down and therefore having that 55 cubic feet of storage capacity. With all these seats down, you get a nice lay flat design where you could put things such as smaller pieces of lumber, plywood, or even putting a mattress back there when you go camping, so you can sleep in the comfort of your own Atlas. Especially it being the Peak Edition, it is perfectly meant for some soft overlanding that you may want to take it on. To put these third row seats down, we do not have any buttons to put them down automatically, but rest assured, it is pretty simple. All you have to do is grab this latch right here and push forward. Same with the right side. And then as those second row seats down, as I said, it is lay flat. And so if you want to pull up these third row seats, since there is no buttons, all you have to do is grab these large grab handles, pull them up on both sides, and easy as that, you've got your third row back up and ready to seat your occupants back there. In regards to outlets and such back here, the only thing you have behind these third rows is a 12 volt that's tucked right back here, kind of on the side of the third row of seats. So it's not the easiest to get to, but it does allow the people in the third row to utilize it if need be. In regards to storage underneath the floor, we do have We do have the, of course, a spot for a spare. This particular one does not come with a spare, as many vehicles don't nowadays, but we do have the space for a small donut style spare. We do have some small cubbies for any kind of cargo that you may have and want to store away from prying eyes. And we do have, of course, the jack, the additional tools for changing, well, what would be a spare tire if you had the donut back here. But we also do have some additional space on the left and the right sides for other storage for groceries or whatever you want that doesn't want to roll around. So a decent amount of space below the floor to the sides, but overall there is plenty of cargo space with the Atlas Peak Edition. All right, let's move on. All right, so as I had mentioned, the Atlas Peak Edition is purely an appearance package and does not upgrade the performance of the vehicle at all. In the Atlas, we do have the 1.4 liter turbocharged engine with 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. So as you can see, that's not very much horsepower or torque, but even with that small amount of torque, you do have a 5,000 pound towing capacity with this vehicle, which is actually pretty solid for an inline four. In regards to fuel economy, you do have 18 miles per gallon city, 24 highway with 20 combined. With the transmission, it is an 8-speed automatic transmission, so making those shifts buttery smooth, especially as mounted to that inline 4 turbocharged engine. Now, does it feel underpowered, you may ask? Well, given the size of this vehicle and a small lack of horsepower, it feels like it's adequate, especially going around the city or even cruising on the highway. But if you're looking for a more spirited driving vehicle, this may not be the one for you, especially given that it doesn't have any hybrid systems involved with the powertrain. But honestly, with 18 city, 24 highway, it's not probably the best miles per gallon you can get for a smaller engine of this size, but in all honesty, it might be worthwhile, especially if you're looking for something that does have a decent towing capacity for your family vehicle. In conclusion, the Atlas Peak Edition is a great option for a family SUV if you're looking for luxury features, sporty styling, and a comfortable ride. Given the sub $50,000 starting price, the Atlas should be on the top of your shortlist. Thanks for watching.